Tony Silbert, a thought leader in appreciative inquiry, focuses on strengths-based, high-engagement approaches to strategy development and implementation. The following video segment will provide an overview of rapid strategy development, getting engagement and results quicker. Tony will cover the shifting trends from the 90s to today, from SWOT to SOAR, why focus on strengths, as well as offer a sample high-engagement process for strategic planning, benefits of strengths, and engagement planning.
So in the 90s, very familiar with a lot of these change management and strategy rollout processes. We're getting ready to do our strategic planning. Let's get management together in a room, develop the plan, and then got to figure out how to roll it out and get buy-in. So there's this notion of a 3x3 grid. Spend 3 weeks with the executive and leadership team developing, building, shaping. Spend 3 days with your middle managers helping to align and push it out, and then spend 3 hours with the frontline staff. So the key essence is people commit to what they help to create.
What you're doing is involving tactical people in a strategic environment, which is, you got a person that's, how do I build this?
It's unheard of. It's unheard of, right?
I don't know how you do it.
Okay, we're going to talk about the specifics of how, but that's the beauty. The people that know the how are involved also in informing the what. So a lot of times the people that just focus on the what don't necessarily understand all of the operational implications of these strategic decisions and choices and directions. A summit, bringing together those people from across, from the what's, the tops, middles, and bottoms, all levels of the organization and beyond to do just that in 3 days to develop the 80% strategic plan. So it's so important to have them in the room because it helps to speed up the actual execution and implementation. If the magic wand or our wishes could come true, what are the hopes or aspirations that we would like to achieve? And then what are the specific results or impact that we want to have in the world? Other than renaming the words, what's the real difference between doing a SWOT analysis and a SOAR analysis, do you think?
You mentioned SWOT have a scarcity mentality. This is more of an abundance mentality, much more positive than negative based.
Right. And why do you think that might be important?
Obviously, that's where I think more energy probably resides, is around the strengths and opportunities. Right.
Helps to eliminate some of the fear that's within the organization, because the minute you start to develop the strengths and the SWOT format, people start maybe recognizing that the area that they work in could be considered a weakness.
Right.
And so,
I don't want to be the weakness. I don't want to be the weak link on our team.
They look at that whole group as being a weakness, and okay, what do we do to eliminate that?
Yeah.
And so rather than support the whole organization and develop processes that will help create gain for the organization, that group then becomes protection.
But the whole notion of problem solving and a focus on weaknesses gets you into this downward spiral of thought, action, and behavior. You get that us versus them, the protectionist, it's not my problem, that whole deficit mindset. What happens, and I'm sure you've experienced this before, if you get into those downward spirals, even if someone has a good idea, what do? Won't work here. We've tried that before. We need a reality check. All of these types of things. It actually limits your ability to see possibilities. And just at the point that you need a more possibility focus, strategic planning is about agreeing upon or co-creating where the what you want to do, where you want to be, the impact that you want to have in the world. So the notion of focusing on strengths, and a number of you have mentioned this, is instead of starting in a downward spiral, you actually create the upward spiral from the get-go. So you're not starting from a neutral, it's a positive bias that begins with the strengths and opportunities. So it creates this thought, action, behavior upward spiral and opens you up to more possibilities. going right from the results. So you've said, here are all the things, the pie in the sky, the things that we want to achieve. And then we've had them articulate what are the results and hopes that are outlined. So what I'll do is have the, results. You have all of these kind of results, results. And we have the group go through and look at what's common, what's different or unique, and what's most compelling. Because you start grouping the result areas, and these result areas become your goal areas. Yeah. If this is most important, it becomes goal area 1. It doesn't have to be prioritized, but it starts to identify what your goal areas could or should be. It's not saying that one is more important. It's just saying what's the balance of things that you want to have. Probably the most helpful, or the one that I use most, is moving from the vision to grouping results. And when they're looking at specific opportunities and initiatives, doing some work around effort impact to do some analysis. So we do a lot of times in a summit setting, when we get to the how do we move this stuff forward, it's like what are one or the two of the initiatives in these goal areas that would most move this closer to our vision. So we actually do this. We hold these brainstormers, we do some rapid prototyping, and people create processes, initiatives, or activities that actually help you achieve those things. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but the more you can bring it to life in the moment, the better. And then the inspire, sustaining the innovations is sort of how do you move it from we've come up with our 80% plan to moving it forward in our organization. Who else do we need to involve? What actions and commitments do we need to make here? So there's a big piece on balancing the commitment and actions with the planning. So finding, again, I think I mentioned that, the minimal enabling structure and coming up with those next steps that help you move it forward. The things that I've found so far in doing this, by focusing on the positive, you open up more of the possibility. Remember the downward spiral versus upward spiral? Just the simple shift onto strengths and the positive helps to open up the possibilities. People commit to what they help to create, the shift. So if you want people to commit to it, the notion of not having to sell or gain buy-in commitment, they're committed and bought in by being a part of the actual process. The acceleration in both developing and in implementing, I think you find ways of shortening that time of creating those plans by engaging in a process like this. And then the sort of the innovate phase, when you get into where you're agreeing upon your goal areas. This really helps to create this try-it-out mindset with the rapid prototyping, the empowerment, and the continuous sort of strategic decision-making. So it really helps with that. And then the notion of nurturing a living strategy, that this strategic plan is not meant to be credenza-ware, that it's helped to guide the actual strategic direction as well as your operational activities. So I love the notion of strategy on a page. Out of all of the things that you've heard explored today, how will you take back whatever things stand out for you as important around either the strengths focus or high engagement, and infuse that into your current strategic planning processes?
It's the practical application.
Yeah. And when you get them engaged in talking about that, it's a way different energy than always responding to this is what we have to do, these are the constrictions, these are the theories, blah, blah, blah.
The naysayers are people that usually are the strongest idealists and have strong hopes or feelings for how this could work, and are usually disappointed by the way things are. So if you find a way to tap into their energy and excitement and draw out their ideas and input and actually do something about it, then you're going somewhere.
For more information on our other strengths-based high engagement services, please visit our website, innovationpartners.com. Some of our key offerings include training, speaking, and consulting in positive change appreciative inquiry, leadership development and coaching, accelerated design, inspired implementation support, and innovation management. Innovation Partners International, your partners from inspired ideas through implementation.